Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone. So we've got 3 meetings to minutes. The first one is for the public meeting on December 19th. There was one correction on number 6 for the cross-country skiing after-school program. The motion was made to approve the after-school, having it moved over to the cross-country ski program, moved over to the after-school program. Had nothing to do with the Mascoma Bank Foundation, so. And I think everything else is okay. We have a motion on those.
I'll move to approve as amended.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
We had non-public meeting on Thursday morning, interviewing, and we have a motion to approve those.
so moved,
Second.
All in favor?
aye,
And we had another meeting Friday morning with Hugh Weatherby and Rick Colburn. As many of you may find out or don't know, John Hennessy resigned from all positions with the town. So we put together we're going to talk about it in non-public tonight, ask Rick and Hugh and Jordan to put together a stopgap plan for the fire and emergency services. So that's in process. So have a motion to accept those.
So moved.
second,
All in favor?
aye,
Thank you. Jack, you want to talk to about our energy upgrade, lighting, police and.
Yeah, as you may remember, before I got here, maybe a while ago, you did some energy lighting upgrades in different parts of the building, and then through the transition, it kind of got waylaid a
Yep.
bit. So we picked up that to finish that for the fire and police stations. So I did execute some agreements for that. It doesn't cost the town anything upfront. The money is actually fronted by Liberty Utilities.
Yep.
And it just gets apportioned out over time, but obviously it's intended to lower the electric bill, save energy.
Does they have an idea when they're going to start those?
I'm thinking within the month.
Okay,
We've got the quote from the electrician. I've signed the paperwork last week. So at this point, I think we're ready to go, whatever
what building is that on again?
fire and police. This
it'll
building.
be
Well, because we
the
did that,
garage, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
cool,
And are you going to continue to talk about the?
Sure, I mentioned
Where we are.
it with our attorney and also Mike Sampson to get a little background on, we've got a number of water projects that are in the queue over the next few years.
Yep.
And there's a variety of funding sources, some of it is state revolving loans, some potentially some ARPA funds and some federal grants. And what we're trying to do at the moment is to make sure we understand how much of that money is actually come in, how much of it we're actually going to get, because that's not clear.
Mhm.
And then how much of it we've actually spent, because some portion of the water projects that we've already done, we spent about 550,000 to put in replace the lake.
Line from the lake to the
To the
filter station.
to the station.
Yep.
It's a little unclear what the status is of the $1.4 million congressional earmark out of Shaheen's office. And the timing of the first 550,000 that we spent is a little disconnected from that potential congressional earmark. So what I need to determine is whether we have the 20% match for the 1.4 million, because that's 280,000,
Mhm.
where that money is. And if there's a time limit by which we have to access and spend 1.4 million. I'm a little nervous about launching into multi-million-dollar water infrastructures when you don't have a town administrator, we don't have an administrative system yet. And we're a little thin on the resource side
Right.
of things.
A lot to
And,
manage.
those are some serious projects to undertake with a kind of a weak team at the moment, so. I need to make sure that we can go through these projects in a sound and competent way. And so if I can get some assurances out of the federal government that earmark would be safe,
Right,
then I probably will recommend that we delay that a bit until
Things settle
things
down.
settle down and we can approach this in a little more organized way.
Yeah.
So I just don't know the answer to that. Mike was very helpful today. There are some documents that we can't find relating to whether or not the congressional earmark was actually given to us. And I'm hoping that Mike can find
Produce those
documents and send them to me.
in his private
that we can
stash.
Follow up.
Okay,
And some of the money that was allocated to one project's already been spent. So we just need to make sure we have the money we'll ultimately be responsible for.
okay,
Spent on the project it was allocated for?
Well, I think so, but I'm not sure. That's what I can't tell you. That's why we need to find some of these more original documents that were
and
generated.
is Mike Duffy's from Horizons documentation fairly clear, or is that
No,
sketchy as well?
It's, well, it's not only not clear, some of it might actually be wrong.
Okay,
And that's all I've had to go on.
yeah,
And so that was why I asked to meet with Mike Sampson today.
Yeah.
to, I'll say, get the rest of the story, try to figure out how we were intending to pay for all these projects, where the money's coming from, when it is coming, how much we've already spent, and what are the timelines of it. And so that's still developing, but that'll drive whether or not I need any two additional warrant articles with respect to those projects, or whether that can be pushed off until
correct,
town management's a little more stable.
okay. Excellent. So as Jack alluded to, we're shorthanded with the town administrator and time spent in the holidays, and there's a couple comments on here for the agenda which don't pertain to the meeting, so public comment and final comments from the select board, those were typos essentially. So I apologize for that. So I'll open it up to the floor that's all we're gonna discuss in public tonight, so if anybody wants to bring anything up, that's fine. John?
I sent you an email relating to a message we got from the attorney. We have a class 6 of private road policy, and that was done in 2008. And at that time, it was assumed that the law is actually ambiguous. And the attorney agrees it's terribly written. And not all attorneys in the state read it the same way, but the way our attorney reads it was all private roads must be approved by the select board. So when a building permit comes in, the planning board has to give their opinion, and then the select board has to make the decision.
Okay,
Do we allow this particular building permit on this private road? So what that means is we need to update the policy. And if we're gonna update the policy, when this was done in 2008, the select board said, we want to review every one as it comes along, because there weren't that many.
yep,
But now you've got 159 vacant lots on 41 private roads. You guys are busy, you're gonna be really busy. And what you can do is you can pre-approve roads. Like up on 118, there's Dove Lane, that's a well-built road. Little Goose Pond, some of those roads are well-built. So the planning board could make a recommendation to you, said, here's a list of roads we think are good enough. You could pre-approve these roads. Somebody wants to build on Dove Lane, the building inspector doesn't have to come to see you. It's pre-approved for building on that road. But some other things like Glen Eagle Lane, which is on Canaan Street Lake, is a little cart path down to the water.
Right.
There's 3 lots there. That one needs some consideration before we allow more building down. Doesn't say you can't do it, just means it needs more, we ought to go through some more steps. So I guess the question to you is, are you willing to pre-approve some roads? And if so, the planning board will come back to you with a list of suggested roads. These are the ones we think are good enough to build on without you looking at. And we'll update the policy anyway, because we've got to change the wording of the policy, so it says all private roads have to be seen by the select board. either with a pre-approval or a blanket pre-approval or
So-
one by one.
I guess like it depends on the size of the property that we're talking about, in my opinion, so in some extent. And I guess that's, I need clarification. Would the planning board be taking that all into effect when they're approving?
Well,
this?
it's per building permit. This is not for subdividing.
Okay.
This is not for creating lots. This is just if you want to build on a
On
private
existing,
road.
okay,
So if you already got 3 buildings there and you want to put up another building, you're building, if you want a tool shed, and it's big enough to require a building permit, that's got to come to you for approval because it's on a private road.
understood.
Sitting on the planning board and knowing quite frankly, the level of competence that is on that board right now and the amount of work that they do on our land use regulations, I would feel comfortable. Personally, I would feel comfortable accepting recommendations from the planning board.
We would come to you with a recommendation and you guys would sort it out and tell us to go back to the drawing. board.
Okay.
Nothing's gonna happen until you're happy.
Yeah.
But
So does this have to go as a warrant article to get the
No.
ruling change? No,
No.
okay,
it's just, we come up with a new policy, the 3 of you sign a new policy, and the policy would include a statement that this road is pre-approved and that road is pre-approved. And any road that's not mentioned is not pre-approved, and they gotta come see you
okay.
if they wanna build on that
So
road.
you look at the condition of the road and then. like,
Yeah,
is it wide
primarily it's-
enough for fire and ambulance and all of that?
Yeah,
getting in
you
there?
really want, the regulations require now a 20-foot wide road,
Okay,
and that's what you really want. If they've got good base, so it doesn't turn into a town mud road.
Easy.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah.
No, it's gotta have a good base, and it's gotta be wide, and the grade, the climb can't be too severe. We typically allow a 10% grade.
Mhm.
You don't want anything that's super.
And
steep.
room for apparatus to maneuver at the end of the road and.
Yeah, turnarounds,
Yeah.
and either a hammerhead or a cul-de-sac.
So really what you would be looking at is a lot of the same stuff that we talked about on Moss Flower Lane
That's right, yeah.
30 years ago.
We
Right.
upgraded that road.
Yeah.
The fire chief worked with us.
Yeah.
And we came up with some upgrades and we moved a few trees and
Yeah.
added some width to the road and that
Yep.
kind of a thing. But
Some pullovers and-
yeah, I think we wouldn't be looking at coming up with a list of roads that need to be modified.
Update.
We'd want to see the ones that are already good, because there are a whole bunch of good private roads in town.
Right, absolutely. That was my take too, John. Yep.
And so the standard would be objective enough so that it could be equally applied to roads of suitable quality.
Well, I think what we do is we do it by road name. So Dove Lane, Hawk Lane is pre-approved.
But,
Because
but
those are
each
well
of
done.
them would have to meet certain objective criteria like width. Road
Yes,
base,
right, yes,
depth
yeah.
of base.
We
that
have in the
sort of
subdivision regulations a set of criteria for the roads,
thing. Okay.
and that's what we're really working from.
Okay.
It gives you,
Understand.
you gotta have a certain grade and
I
there's,
understand.
the base is gonna
Yeah.
be certain depth, certain
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah, each road that would be so pre-approved,
Right.
it would all be meeting regulations that the
Right.
planning board already has in place.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And would somebody have appeal rights if?
Yes,
they
the-
had a
The
road-
Board of Adjustment is the appeal
Okay.
route. So if they don't like, if the selectmen refuse to allow a building permit, then they go to the Board of Adjustment. And the Board of Adjustment does their thing, and if they don't get the wrong answer, then they go to the New Hampshire Housing Board.
Understood.
Mark,
Now, this pre-approval, this is after the, fire department and.
Yeah, we work with-
Highway department already have looked at the road.
Yeah, we'll be working with all the other agencies in town.
Yeah.
Good.
And we just need to know who the fire chief is. We need to know who the emergency manager is. We need to know who the building inspector is.
who the town administrator,
Floodplain administrator is. These guys are gonna work on that.
John, when you find those things out, please shoot me an email. Yeah. Yeah, I can forward it, right? Yeah, well, I don't know if I can actually. Yeah.
all right, thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
No problem.
Is this something we want to discuss more in depth? Do we want to make a motion on it tonight?
I want to just think about it and,
Full thought into it, Stephen? Okay, yep, understood.
Larry?
We'll do what's
Oh,
called putting it
hold
on
on.
more time and we'll just
Yeah.
roll it over to the next agenda.
Okay,
we got a meeting next Tuesday, so,
okay.
Larry,
I just want to put it on record that I'm very sorry that John Hennessy was left. He dedicated his whole life to what he was doing. I know you can't discuss what was going on, but I just want on record that as a citizen of the town, I appreciate his service and
Yeah, so noted.
this was some way you got to work on.
So noted. You, 2 sentences on that, you guys mind?
Go ahead.
And to piggyback that, I would like everyone to know that we accepted a resignation.
Okay.
That's how this happened. We didn't make any offers of termination or even, that wasn't even in the works. Right, yeah, so I mean, we accepted a resignation, this wasn't us going to John. So just so you know.
No,
that.
no, I
Okay,
know you did.
Anybody else have anything else?
As
Yep,
you're
Cindy.
putting your warrant articles together, are you going to capture the language that was left out of the warrant article a couple of years ago relating to transferring the proceeds from the Cozy Corner into the community center capital reserve? There
That's a
was language.
good
that-
catch, Cindy.
But
That's a good catch. That's a good catch on your part. Do you guys remember what you're
Yep.
talking about?
Yes, because the money, it was sold, but then it was never, there was not a warrant article to put it into the,
yeah,
Right.
yes, okay.
Have we addressed that?
The answer is yes.
Yes,
okay.
Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Yep. Sal?
I just wanted to be clear, when do we have any hearing on the leasing issue for the highway equipment?
So, we can talk about that tomorrow night at the budget meeting, and I want to bring it to the budget meeting, what the plan and thought process is there, so. Like I said, we have a budget meeting tomorrow night and Thursday night, and then we have a select board meeting next Tuesday and a budget meeting and a budget meeting. So it's all coming to a head right now, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And the-
Well, we don't forget.
Yeah,
Mark,
did you have a question?
Has there been an update on the generators?
Say that again?
Has there been an update on generators?
Sal has been working on that.
Where that stood was, the generators that we have need to be serviced. There's a service contract that, John forwarded to, that John worked out, Tennessee, and, carried in as a copy. Did I send you a copy of that? No.
I don't think I,
I don't think so, sir.
But that's just basically maintain them, but that has to be approved either through the budget or, as a special
Yeah.
appropriation for you guys.
that wasn't a whole lot of money though.
$4,100 per year.
Yeah, so I think that I thought we had put that actually in the budget.
And that's an annual cost to maintain them every year?
That's correct.
And Sal, was there a dollar amount associated with getting them all up and running?
They are, well, they're all, the ones that are here are running. So there's
Okay.
no Issue with them once they're running, but there was no.
No program.
Research yet on
Okay,
what else we should do moving forward. There are
Okay.
in the future on the CIP plan, and maybe there are
For the town.
dollars allocated for generators, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. It's just a question of, what do you want, where do you want to upgrade and what do you want to do? And so somebody's got to work that plan. I was hoping that obviously the
yeah.
No, I think my understanding, I'll go back and check the notes from last budget meeting, but I thought we actually added that to the budget. So
which 4100.
the 4,100.
No, I think you were holding off on, that was one of the items that you were
Okay.
holding off, because you didn't know the number,
Okay,
but we can add that.
all right.
We can put that in, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I think it
Sal,
should, so,
just a quick question on getting everything going. I guess maybe that was the wrong phrasing. So is the initial service to make sure everything is running up to speed, is that included in that first payment of 4,100?
I think so.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, I can send you I'll get the contract there. Carrie Ann has, you have it, too,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I can forward it to everybody.
okay, yeah,
Typically, the annual maintenance or semi-annual maintenance is, checking the oil, draining it, checking the charging, make sure the battery's good, some other things.
Yeah,
If they come across something that's broken, it's it's extra, so it's.
Yes.
It's.
Yeah.
Cost plus.
Yeah.
So that's.
that just ensures that he's
So
gonna
I-
come here and,
I would put enough in and anticipate that if you've got a half a dozen generators that haven't had any regular maintenance for years, you're gonna have some parts.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be too stingy on funding in the budget. They can get expensive.
Yeah.
Right, just saying.
Anything else from anybody?
Has there been any updates on the internet Wi-Fi? Is it HUD 60?
Of 66, I have not heard anything.
Are they,
actually have
have they come to town at all or?
They have been out there. They were out when right after we first met with them, Patty, they were out measuring poles and doing all kinds of, I mean, they went up my road, they saw them on Route 4. I mean, so they were doing the legwork that they had to do. I know, the area that's covered by co-op, they're running lines and running, people up on Fernwood Farm Road are getting connected up. So that coming in from that direction and what, is being covered by, the co-op is moving forward. I think they were already making the steps forward before Hub 66. So Hub 66 is a more larger project, I think, than what
So
the
do
co-op
they
is.
not keep in contact with you all?
They have not, and I should reach out to them or have Jack reach out to them. It's just with all the budgeting stuff, quite frankly, it's.
Okay.
Another 3 or 4 weeks, we might be able to push these 100 things aside and bring on the next 100, but it's been busy.
No
But I
excuse,
did-
but you're right.
Right, but we did, I just asked Jack, because one of the things that I remember is somebody mentioned that they think that Hub 66 went bankrupt soon after we had our meeting with them. And that was mentioned a month and a half ago or so, but Jack just let me know that upon doing a little bit of research and digging into it, we do not see evidence of that anywhere. So we're hopeful that that is not why we haven't heard from them. But I'm sure they're just like everyone else, understaffed and overworked and trying to get it all done. So that's the hopes. Yep.
Yes,
We would probably have to delve into it a little more tomorrow, I'm just not sure how much time we have.
Budget question or select board question?
Article dealing with the, old gravel pit, the one in back of the transfer station, and there was an authorization, through a warrant article to sell that lot. And according to the tax record, we still own it. And I was wondering if you were planning on selling it, if you are, do we need to have another warrant article to do that? I think it was approved in 2018.
yep.
And if we're not gonna sell it, then what are we gonna do with it? And are we gonna sell the one that we've been getting this crappy stuff put on the road, or the plan to have a warrant article to sell that?
There's no plans to have warrant articles this year, but
Sell-
to sell either one of them, so,
No,
no.
I guess I'm gonna get-
Anything else? All right, everyone, thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Motion to adjourn,
Uh,
right? Motion to go into non-public,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Non-public.
Non-public. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.